In today's GTA 6 video, we're going to be revisiting a leak, which as it turns out might have actually been real. Now, of course, we are still waiting for something from Rockstar, whether it's trailer 2, whether it's screenshots. Hopefully some of that comes soon, because I don't know if you guys have known, but it's almost, what, 7-8 months since trailer 1, which seems crazy, but time has flown by. And of course, Rockstar has been pretty silent. With that being said, though, I figured why not go back and revisit some of these leaks while we actually wait. And the leak I'm going to share in this video has something that only recently became pretty relevant. So about 3 days ago, I saw this article and I thought it was pretty interesting. Original LA Noire devs might be working on a spiritual successor. Now, I'm not going to go into the specifics of this, but apparently there was an Instagram post by this composer, and it basically sort of was teasing an LA Noire 2-esque game. Now, the reason that is important is because this is actually from the leak. The leaker in question apparently stated that the next Rockstar game is actually going to be LA Noire 2. And instead of LA, it'll be set in San Fran. It's the Zodiac Killer, I guess his story or whatever. Still in early stages of development. It'll probably be 2030 when it comes out, not joking. The higher ups are talking about doing the face scanning stuff again, making it insane. They want it to be the best looking game ever made. So that is the big connection here. This leak came out a couple of days after the trailer 1. And now we have, what, 7-8 months later, some LA Noire 2 rumors starting. That's the real big connection here. And assuming everything is true, then it might make the rest of this leak, which we'll get into in a second, true as well. Now, before we do get into the contents of the leak, I just want to reiterate some things that I've said in the past. Number one, it's a leak. It could be true. It might not be true. Take it with a grain of salt. But again, like I said at the beginning, we don't have much to go on, so why not just read through some of this stuff and get some hope for the game? Number two, yes, most of the time these leaks like this are false and they're fake. But there have been times in the past, like with this RDR2 leak, where things have leaked literal years before the game was even mentioned. I made a video on this a couple of weeks ago, but there was this one particular guy on Reddit called Red Dead Insider, and he literally was telling us details of the story back in like 2014 before we even knew the game existed. So there is a slight chance that some of these GTA 6 leaks that either I cover or just are out there in general, there is a slight chance they could be true. It's very small, but when Rockstar has like 7,000 developers and people working on this game, there's a chance a couple of them might not like the way they get treated at Rockstar, and they might go on the internet and spout some details. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at the leak about GTA 6. Again, this came out a couple of days after trailer 1. I believe it was posted on 4chan, which is a place that a lot of fake stuff goes, but it's also a place where some real leaks end up happening because it's all anonymous. It's like if there was a Rockstar developer that didn't like the way they were getting treated, you go to 4chan, it's pretty anonymous. You could say what he wants and either people will believe him or they won't. The leak starts, Jason and Lucia have a kid together. He got her pregnant out of wedlock when they were teens. They didn't get married because they're both criminals. When Lucia was taken to prison, their son was taken by the state and put into foster care. So that apparently is the background leading up to the game itself. The main story involves the two of them working through their relationship problems. Apparently there is 4 endings. The good one is considered by us to be canon. I'm assuming the person writing this claimed to be a Rockstar developer. That's why he says us. But the good ending is Lucia and Jason kidnapping their own kid from the foster family and riding off into the sunset together with all the money they made from their missions. This is the romantic and organized ending. There's other endings, one where Lucia gets away with their son, Jonathan, but Jason dies keeping the cops off of them as they drive away. This happens if they're romantic but chaotic. There are 2 non-romantic endings where they don't actually get to keep their son. In the orderly or organized one of them dies, the player chooses, and then in the chaotic one, both die. Now, a quick couple of things. Number one, the biggest thing that'll determine if this is true is if we ever get to see if they have a kid and if that kid's name is Jonathan. So that'll be something I think a lot of us are going to look forward to in either screenshots or other trailers if they tease that in any way. Now, what also makes this a little bit more believable, I want to refer back to the leaked world events. So this was back 2 years ago when the big, 90 videos leaked. People went through and actually recorded most of the world events. There were like 1,300, and a couple of them actually had these different, styles of how to complete a mission or a radio. It says here, the song, you could be pragmatic or you could be romantic. And there was also the 2 separate ones where you could be pragmatic cool or pragmatic chaotic, and then romantic cool and romantic chaotic. So that ties in with these 4 different endings, depending on how you go through the game and what decisions you make. If you want to keep it pragmatic, if you want to be romantic, if you want to be organized and cool, calm and collected, or if you just want to be chaotic and go crazy. I guess also we'll know more once we get more background information on Jason and Lucia's characters officially from Rockstar. Because if they're strangers to each other, then this leak is kind of debunked. But if they do know each other, as they say in this leak, as they were teens, then a lot of this stuff kind of makes more sense and it might end up being true. Now, the leak continues, and this is a big couple of paragraphs. I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to highlight some points. You get to choose how they interact with each other, which makes sense. The leak says that Lucia isn't actually a strong female lead like how you're used to in movies and TV shows and stuff. They actually say most of the chaotic decisions will come from her, but most of the plans are actually initiated by Jason. So it's not like Jason just follows Lucia around. Like it's a decent dynamic, it sounds like, from this guy's leak with the 2 characters. They say it's Lucia who works out the flaws and makes them better. And the whole goal is to show how much of a team they can be when they're not being dysfunctional with each other. And the ending, the one where they reunite this family, shows that the important thing for them was their relationship and not the money and all that stuff that, you do in a GTA game. The leak also says there were 2 more characters, which I believe was actually confirmed like a long time ago. There was originally supposed to be 4 characters, but as he says, it got convoluted at some point, and I'm sure the size of that story would have just been too big. The game might never have come out if that was the case, so they cut it down to 2. But that's another sort of thing if, we ever get the game and we can look through the game files. If there's like cut content regarding these other 2 characters, that's another thing that'll just mean this leak was true. Now, this next bit actually just sounds pretty realistic for the game. If the game is about their relationship, which it kind of sounds like it is from what we know, at least from the leaks and from what we've seen in trailer 1, I'm assuming this is in response to like cheating on the other character. And they said the other character will find out about it and it will essentially tank the relationship to where you probably won't be able to recover back into being romantic by the time the story concludes. And I want to bring up this picture because this is a concept that was made a few months ago. But like in RDR2, there's the honor and dishonor meter. Perhaps in GTA 6, there will be a sort of relationship romance meter. And the more bad stuff, if you cheat, it goes unhealthy. The more good stuff, of course, it's healthy. And those decisions you make throughout the game will determine what ending you get. I mean, that's kind of how it was in RDR2. So it seems like that's going to be, assuming this is all true again, it seems like that might be the way it happens in GTA 6. And as far as like how that would work, I guess, look, he gives an example. There'll be men prostitutes as well. It wouldn't be fair if only one of the characters was able to cheat. We want to give players full agency over both of them, both Lucia and Jason. And here we actually have another interesting little bit about the story and I guess what'll happen. So he says there's going to be these potential rival love interests that give you the option to, of course, cheat on either Lucia or Jason. And that is the center point of the game, or like maybe like the midway point of the story where they're tempted away from each other. And he does say that it's much easier to tank them into a platonic relationship than it is to keep them romantic. All you have to do is cheat once and it breaks their relationship almost completely. He says there's values, I guess. So there is going to be some sort of bar, 5 points for each date. You go on, minus 150 for cheating. Says, I'm not too clear on the balance of that. That's another department's responsibility. Side quests and dates and stuff impact all of this, but a small amount. The majority of that value is determined by the main story. He does say canonically they're in love, although pretty dysfunctional, and their sole purpose is to get their son back and escape to Tahiti, or, escape basically to a place where they can, I guess, be free and live as a family. And then the last thing this leak mentioned is the dates you can go on. So maybe they're going to be bringing back like a GTA 4 style of a system. They range from small things like going to a drive in theater or getting fast food to large things like entire days out at the amusement park or going mudding. And we did get to see the mudding part in the trailer. So, you know, kind of checks out there. He says it's hard to intentionally F up the dates. They're made to be more relaxing and cute part of the game to contrast the main story where you're killing people left and right and pulling off heists or whatever. Now, this is where it gets a little crazy, and we'll talk about this in a second after we're done reading it. But my favorite day, he says, out of the ones we've made, was a camping trip where you can climb to the top of the mountain in the bottom left corner of the map on foot together. And of course, the game's in Florida, so yeah, that's a little suspect. But to wrap it up, he says, we want you to really fall in love with these characters, and ideally we want you to want them to be in love story-wise. And assuming this is a real Rockstar developer and assuming this is all true, you know, that's sort of the route that they were going with these characters. It's basically a love story in a GTA game, which sounds a little crazy because I don't think Rockstar's really done that ever. But it's also something I think Rockstar would be willing to do, to branch out, to sort of mix things up. Like, it's not crazy for this to be the case if this is true. Of course, the one big thing, though, like we just looked at, that maybe makes this less believable is the fact that he says there's a mountain in the bottom left corner of the map. Well, if we look at the map, the bottom left corner, that's like the Everglades. There's no mountains down there. Now, there are going to be mountains or big hills in this game. We actually did get to see those in the leaks. I can't show them, unfortunately, but they are there. So maybe he got a little confused, and instead of, you know, saying bottom left, maybe he meant top left because that's where the mountains would be. So I don't know if I'm writing this off just because he said the mountains are in the bottom left, but all the other stuff sounds pretty believable. Again, the sort of romance or relationship meter, I think fits perfectly if they are just going off of the honor meter in RDR2, because there's not really a way to have honor in a GTA game. So having this is kind of the next best step for them if they wanted to keep that. Also, having the story be more personal, I think also fits and is a nice change of pace for a GTA game as well. But as always, look, let us know in the comments what you guys think about this particular leak. Like I said, the main connection was the LA Noire 2 stuff. The fact that I'm seeing some LA Noire 2 rumors, like maybe this guy was onto something here. And again, I showed with the RDR2 stuff, it's possible that there's already text out there that is, you know, spoilers for the game. Could this be one of them? Maybe. But until, again, we get more information from Rockstar, we're not going to know. But while we're in the drought of information, I thought it'd be interesting to read through some of these leaks again. But that's going to do it for today's GTA 6 video. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe for more GTA 6 content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.